Everything Everywhere All at Once is so good that it should be banned by international law for the crime of making every other film look terrible by comparison. Yes, even other great movies. In fact, this Daniel Kwan and Daniel Steinhardt directed heartfelt science fiction action comedy has set the standard for all other movies this year. It's endlessly creative, causes the audience to run through a gauntlet of emotions, like it's heartwarming, a tearjerker, and often hilarious all simultaneously. It has a great science fiction concept involving the multiverse, and the action is just inventive and enthralling in the best way. And with that, Everything Everywhere All at Once is just awesome, and I loved every minute of it. It is an amazing experience and is easily one of the best movies I've seen in recent memory, which admittedly sounds like really high praise, but trust me, this film more than earns it. It needs to be seen. To explain why Everything Everywhere All at Once works, let's start with the story. The plot follows Michelle Yeoh's Evelyn, an aging woman who is having a tough time. For one thing, her family life is a mess. Her elderly father Gong Gong is consistently disappointed in her, husband Wayman can be overly wholesome, and Evelyn's daughter Joy doesn't live up to her lofty standards. Like Evelyn often inappropriately comments on Joy's weight, and inappropriately notes that Joy's queer relationship with her girlfriend in Talia Midell's Becky Sreger is just a phase, because older generations just don't understand younger queer people. I've fucking been there. And add on how Evelyn's laundromat business is being audited by the IRS, as represented by Jamie Lee Curtis's hawkish Deirdre Boubierdre, and Evelyn is not having a great life at the moment. She's stuck between a rock and a hard place, just like the mean streets of Des Moines, Iowa. And as a result, Evelyn wonders if life has any meaning, and whether or not she made the wrong choices that led to her tough and seemingly meaningless existence, which, ouch. However, Evelyn's seemingly purposeless life changes when she meets a version of her husband from an alternate dimension, a man who tells Evelyn that her world and the multiverse, i.e. the concept of infinite alternate dimensions that are created when we all make different choices, are in mortal peril. See, a mysterious being and their cult of followers are threatening to end existence and the multiverse itself, basically like oil companies but with loftier goals. And with that, Evelyn must pull on her experiences from alternate realities, like one where she is a martial arts master, in order to combat this existential threat. The story is really good, mostly because the movie has a big sense of heart that preaches the importance of the little things. After all, Evelyn is constantly confronted by the fact that there are near infinite versions of herself that are ultimately much more accomplished and successful than she is in her own troubled family with a troubled laundromat reality. And with that, she has to struggle with a few internal conundrums, like what's the purpose of her own existence when there are so many competing alternate dimensions? And how can she not feel like a failure compared to realities where she is a master of her craft, like the world's best martial artist or a master chef or whatever? These are big questions that our hero grapples with, and to its credit, the movie answers these questions in a heartwarming way, vis-a-vis by touting the importance of the little moments in the people we love in our lives, which admittedly is a cliched trope in fiction. It's been done a lot of times before, because the power of love and all of that. But Everything Everywhere All at Once executes this trope with such earnestness and such a creative flair that it still lands and feels unique regardless. In fact, Everything Everywhere All at Once is truly a heartwarming experience, preaching that social popularity and career success aren't the only important metrics that measure whether or not you had a meaningful life. Instead, the real measurement of whether or not your life was a good one is in how we affect the people we love and how we experience the joy of life itself, which is honestly just very wholesome. The movie also has a nice message about being true to oneself in front of those that we love, even though it can be scary. Speaking as a transgender woman, I know how it can be difficult to be one's true self in front of those we care about. After all, we fear judgment and a certain sense of shame. But regardless of how a parent, family member, or friend takes how we come out to them, that is on them. We shouldn't have to hide what we really want or who we are. It's important to just be ourselves. And that's a big message in Everything Everywhere All at Once. With Evelyn's father Gong Gong, we see a man judging Evelyn's every decision, and with Evelyn's daughter Joy, we see a young woman experiencing a troubled mother-daughter relationship. But despite these setbacks, the film espouses the importance of being open to those that we love, and how people can change for the better in order to foster better relationships with those that we care about. And in this regard, Everything Everywhere All at Once is incredibly heartwarming. Its messaging hits home, which for me is Slipknot in a jar of pickles. It's really good. Additionally, Everything Everywhere All at Once is an emotional roller coaster, kind of like sitting on a couch and eating a tub of ice cream in one sitting while sobbing. The movie's martial arts choreography and innovative action sequences are a fucking thrill ride. The alternate universes confronting Evelyn with her own character deficiencies can be incredibly funny, and the film's finale is a tears of joy triumph of artistic storytelling that I haven't gotten over. It is so aspirational and creative in its execution that it had me crying in happiness and smiling at the movie's emotional resonance. As I said earlier, I loved every second of it. Everything Everywhere All at Once's execution of the multiverse is very creative as well. In the film, we see and spend meaningful time in a multitude of ingenious fictional realities, like humanity going through a different type of evolutionary change, a reality where Earth is inhospitable to life itself, and many others that I won't say because I don't want to spoil just how creatively bonkers this movie gets, especially compared to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which also dabbled in a multiversal concept, but did not get anywhere near as inventive as Everything Everywhere All at Once. See, where Multiverse of Madness hinted at various interesting universes like an animated one, Everything Everywhere All at Once fully dives into and explores its imaginative universe side. And while Multiverse of Madness is a good movie for other reasons, its version of the multiverse is really outclassed by Everything All at Once. It doesn't even come close. The performances are really great as well. James Hong's Gong Gong is great as an elderly father figure who is sick of everyone else's bullshit. Kei Kwan's Waymond is adorably doting and earnest to the point that even I, a transgender lesbian, can understand why anyone would fall in love with him. Jamie Lee Curtis's IRS agent Deirdre is an objective-focused adversary with hints of humanity brimming beneath the surface, and Stephanie Sue delivers a very dynamic performance of joy that delivers many emotional highs and lows. But the standout here is Michelle Yeoh's turn as the lead Evelyn, a performance that is incredibly multifaceted, seeing as she has to convince us that Evelyn is simultaneously a failing downward mom who is having a tough life at the moment, all while being a perfectly confident and capable action heroine, which is a very tough line to walk, but Michelle Yeoh does it expertly. She, and by extension everyone else in the film, is great. Also the points that I can't believe that the filmmakers originally tried to get Jackie Chan to do the lead role instead. And I mean no disrespect to the great and awesome Jackie Chan, but Michelle Yeoh owns this damn vehicle here. Overall, Everything Everywhere All at Once is as close to perfect as a film can get. It features terrific performances, an abundance of creativity in terms of its multiversal concept, well-written characters with personal strengths and faults, engaging on-screen action, and just an abundance of creative fire that coalesces into one of the best third acts you will see in any film, period. It is truly an awesome movie, and despite being titled Everything Everywhere All at Once, this film is aimed directly at the heart. See ya. And with that, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like rating, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave a comment telling me what you thought of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Also, please consider checking out my Patreon page. $1 a month gets you onto my Discord server, and $5 a month allows you to start making review requests. The link to my Patreon is in the description. And speaking of Patreon, I just want to thank my patrons, particularly my high tier ones, and David, Samantha, Devlin, Mom, and Morgan. Thank you so much for supporting what I do. Love y'all.